thatmovieguyUK.
Once every blood moon, we always get one interesting film at a Cineworld Unlimited screening, and Pedro Almodovar's Pain and Glory was that very film. Once it premiered at Cannes, the buzz around this film was eccentrically high, and very seldom in the UK we get a foreign language movie coming out so early after the release at Cannes. So thank God we've actually had it, otherwise we'd be waiting till next year and we would have been talking about it already, but here we are, we're talking about it now. Exciting. Pedro Almodovar, I must say, is one of the most intriguing directors I think that has come from Europe in the last 30 years. I'm not very familiar with the earlier works. I have seen a lot more like mid-90s going to the current day. I'm not a big fan of Giulietta. The Skin I Live In is very good. I am a big fan of Bad Education. I like Revolver also, and I like Pain and Glory now. And we're here to talk about it. Pain and Glory follows the story of Salvador Malo, a filmmaker in the twilight of his career, reminiscing about his life, of his mother, his lovers, the actors that he's worked with, from a small village in Valencia during the 60s, Madrid in the 80s, and now the present. He feels gigantic emptiness and he is facing his mortality and his incapability of actually continuing to making films. It's impossible for him to separate creation from his own life. The need of narrating his past can be his salvation. Pedro Almodovar's Pain and Glory bears the concerns and the epiphanies of not just an artist but a human being. It slowly broods itself into tranquility and to utter revelations about questions that we have about life. And it shows such hardship but humanity, and Almodovar paints it so masterfully. And anything that you can think of this kind of humanistic kind of experience, it just draws you even closer to the artist and to ourselves, I believe. And I think that's the interesting thing about this whole story. It does feel like very short segments of different characters in his life. And I'm not just saying this as Salvador, but this is Pedro Almodovar's life. He's always kind of biographical within his films anyway, and Pain and Glory is one of those that you would put in that kind of category. The concept of cycles, I think, is the interesting element of the film. Is just like how he has gone back to reflect about people like his mother, his lovers, the actors in his films, and how he's not necessarily closed that cycle yet, and how he's maybe trying to rectify it, but at the same time it shows you his regret, and you can then obviously connect with that, because we all have regrets, we all have decisions that we've done and we're not happy with. And continuously throughout Pain and Glory, these revelations just unfold and you just empathize. And this film did drain me quite a lot emotionally, because everybody has these kind of periods in their life where they need to think, well, where did I actually go wrong there? Or what did I do right? Should I stay with this person? Should I not? And I think that that's the interesting concept, but especially on the family matters, I think. There's always regrets with our loved ones that have passed. And that was the hard spot, I think, for me, and I would say with the audience I watched it with, is that maybe the last words you'll ever hear from a loved one and not the words that you want to hear. And it was very painful in this film for me. Well, I said the slow brooding is the benefit of Pain and Glory, because you feel like you know where the narrative is going, but there's always these interesting U-turns, and there's a very strong wit in the film. There's a lot of funny elements, there's a lot of very twisted elements. I think it's well known in this film that he is smoking heroin, and it's a very traumatizing period of time because he's going through a lot of pain, and you actually go through all the medical issues that Salvador has, and then you understand his reasoning for trying such an extreme drug. And while the humor and the wit balance themselves out with this darkness, you do think to yourself, you know, how low do you have to go to actually having to try these things? There is one shot in particular that I really thought was a very poetic shot, the opening shot where Salvador is by the river with his mother, played by Penelope Cruz, and she's washing linen and they're drying it over these bushes, and there's like they're singing a Spanish song, and I think it was a very nice homage to his early life, and I think it's a very traditional way of looking at things, but that's the joy of Almodovar. He always creates this mise-en-scène that transports you into a different period of time. He can set a mood with his mise-en-scène. I think the colouring of the film as well is very vibrant for such a very, not necessarily a dark film, but the context of the film is not always positive, and I think the way that he lights things, I think that the Iglesias score just works masterfully throughout the film, and the music doesn't always make you want to feel things, because the actual dialogue and the actual story by Almodovar is what drives you. It's not always the music, but the music is a great component to mesh things together. But going on to this then, obviously the big talk of this film is Antonio Banderas, because I would honestly say, yes, this is his best film that he's ever created. I hands down believe that. I think he has embodied this character so much, and obviously working with Almodovar for so many films, I think it's 7 or 8 films that they worked together, it just gave it the life that it needed. He was strong, he was fragile, you understood his convictions, you understood his issues, you empathized with him, and he made Salvador into a real human, even though we still believe that Almodovar is Salvador. But Almodovar's not saying this, but whatever. All in all, Pain and Glory is just a beautiful humanistic piece, and I would highly recommend anybody who really likes Almodovar or wants to be introduced to Almodovar to go and watch this film, because there is a good there's a good blend there for you, and it's a good way for you to understand really what the director's about, and definitely worth checking out. I think it's out in the UK August 23rd, so go check it out if you can. So yeah, if you've seen it, obviously talk to me. It's nice to talk to people, you know, on this channel. Go for it. And again, everything is below if you want to subscribe, like, dislike, comment, non-comment. Follow me on Letterboxd, Instagram, whatever, Twitter. Go for it. Obviously, as we say on the channel, Diolch, danke, obrigado, merci beaucoup, arigato, dankeschön, bitteschön, all the shits, and obviously, no change.